Um, am I audible? Kindly, someone confirm on the comments. Okay, so basically we'll just do what we usually do during the weekend, just trying to look at pre-market analysis and what we expect during the next week, and maybe we might do the match with the fundamentals to tomorrow. Today we'll just mostly focus on just the technicals, which I'm not sure if we'll be able to complete everything, but I hope we get done with almost half of this pair so that we finish the rest of the half tomorrow as we talk about the fundamentals. Because we all know that on Monday we are having a key something that is going to happen in the US that is very, very important in terms of the US elections and the currency. We never know how the dollar might react of Donald Trump's swearing in. Last year, the last time we had Biden's last time when Biden was getting inaugurated, we remember that the dollar strengthened for a few minutes and then weakened for the next minutes. Very, very impulsively, by the way. We had very strong momentums that day. So I'm not sure how this time the market will react, but I'm really hoping for the best, which is on Monday. That is why we also have to look at now the key fundamental factors for next week in tomorrow's session. So today we'll just be focusing on the technicals, trying to see what to look at, what to project what to project next week on different pairs that you're seeing on my watch list. Okay, yeah. If you've not given me a subscription, you can consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, as well as maybe uh, giving this live a thumbs up, like moja kidogo. See if we can possibly get another setup for next week. That is what is important. Whatever has passed is already passed. So we have to find a way to spot new opportunities, the trend direction or the direction we are opting for next week. Last week, I think I told you guys that this week we were looking for a bearish out JPY, and the reason is for this specific week. You remember we had taken out the high of the week, and then after taking out the high, we next candle most certainly takes out the low, or is looking out a high closed below a low. So we have to sweep a liquidity. That is why we were all projecting to either take out this one as our that was maybe our first key liquidity to target last week, as well as these other low. So those are the 2 points of interest we had last week, and we're still cruising. We're still watching to see how the markets reacts from next week, which I'm still positive we might have a bearish out JPY. But again, check the kind of bullish momentum we're having around here. Might not be pushing price higher, but prices to take out this liquidity. Okay, yeah, that's very important. The first thing we have to do is look at the weekly time frame to find the directional bias of the market that we are looking for in the coming week. That is the first and the most important thing you have to do, to go lower on lower time frames, to try and spot if we can see now a point of interest where we can possibly get in the market off from. And from this, clearly, it's either you'll have to look for opportunities around this. There's a volume imbalance around. Volume imbalances are used by prices to as either supports or resistance to push prices to the intended direction. So if anytime, maybe for me mostly when I don't have any order block to trade off from, but I can easily spot a volume imbalance. Most of the times I can consider taking a trade from the volume imbalance, because a volume imbalance is just like any other imbalance that you usually mark on your charts, maybe a price inefficiency, a fair value gap, or just a price imbalance. So price might as well react off that volume imbalance, but we have to also go lower to other time frames to try and see if we could find a possible point of interest. And then another thing you can clearly see is that For this particular case, you see here we were bullish from this point. We had been bullish to this point, but then this was the last structural low, which means this is now our internal change of character, which should then mean that after that internal change of character, we have to mark a bullish candlestick that is around here to as our supply to push prices lower. So I'm expecting price to trade off from this point now to check out these lows, because number one, we have that volume imbalance right about there, and number two, we could use these as an inducement. This could be a possible take out that or take orders from this order block right there. So that is what I'm expecting on out JPY. We might see a reaction off there to take out these lows. Once we have taken out these lows, even if price starts taking out these lows from where we are, then these will now become invalid. So you also have to consider a lot of things. But then again, just as I've said, most of these things are now subject to change depending on how the currency, how the US dollar reacts off on Monday. On Monday, we might have major movements in the market because of the inauguration of Donald Trump. Be careful. That is what I'm expecting on our JPY. Okay. Yeah. So supply. Fantastic. Anyone has any question on our JPY? Okay, let me just go through all these, and then maybe if a question you'll ask while I conclude. So next will be AUD USD, we still are looking at this same setup that we had last week, and just the same thing I had explained to you last week. Maybe we can go through. Let me just delete these things and we look at that. So the first thing is looking at the kind of price momentum. The current price action on AUD is, you can see we are very bearish, right? From this point, we've been very bearish on AUD, and then you can spot that this candle, the first week of January, the first full week of January, was a very strongly bearish candle that had a very strong bearish momentum and bearish rejection. You can see from right there. So it means there are a lot of bear orders in the market that you are supposed to focus on. And then you can also see last week price tried to push higher, but then the bears were strong enough to push it lower to close below last week's market open. Okay, yeah. So but fortunately, or we also have to consider the fact that we had swept the low of this week and closed above. So you never know how this next week, you have to be very positive and optimistic to whatever outcome that comes with AUD, because you can also see that we had taken out the liquidity, the previous week's low, so sell side liquidity. So we are still we might be positive to take out the high as well. So yeah, but in the event that there is no we don't have enough market momentum to push prices to that point, then you can consider taking your trades off the 50% of that liquidity pool as well. So price might as well react from the action of this that high. So it all depends on the kind of momentum we'll have next week after the after the Donald Trump's inauguration. So you also have to be very careful as you go through that, as you trade out USD. Okay, yeah. That's fantastic. Those of us who are joining us right now, welcome. Thank you for joining. We have just looked at AUD JPY. We are currently looking at AUD USD. Yeah, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can consider subscribing, as well as maybe giving this YouTube live a thumbs up. Okay, yeah, I'd really appreciate. So that is it on your AUD USD. Then now you can scale down on to the lower time frames, trying to spot now order blocks that you will be trading off from to capitalize now on this move that you're looking out for, this sell momentum. So on the 4-hour time frame, we had projected that price would react off this particular order block right here that led to this break of structure here. So and you can see price started pushing higher this week, but then we never got to it means that this could possibly act now as your inducement of prices, but then you also have to be careful. Now for this particular case for AUD USD, I would really recommend that you trade a confirmation. You trade after price gets in. Once price gets into this order block, now you can wait for price to close, to take out a change of character on the lower time frames, and then take a trade at spot, and then take the trade to this low. Internally, or alternatively, you can chill, wait to see how the currency, the US dollar, strengthens or weakens after the Trump's inauguration. Maybe we might have a sweep of that high, and then after the sweep of that high, then now that is when we might have our confirmation to trade to that low. Okay, that is the second option. Third option is you can always take your trade and then give the trade enough breathing room, which now increases in terms of the number of pips and reduces your risk reward. So this one is not very advisable, but if that is what you think is best for you, then well and good. Yeah, that is it on AUD USD. Fantastic. So on Euro USD as well. So on Euro USD, I think last week we had not taken out this particular one. I think by the close of Friday, we had taken out this one. So for our Euro USD, I think we were also 4-hour time frame as the AUD USD one. So we are still, this one is liquidity resting around here is usually maybe these are almost equal highs. They're not really equalized, but they're almost equalized. And then now take our orders from this supply zone here. So it's very possible and to trade off this supply here. So for Euro USD, still valid, but we can just look at the thing else we can be expecting. So for the Euro USD on the weekly time frame, you can see we had some bearish momentum as well. See what happened right there is the last week of December was momentum that pushed price lower to this point and took out this low. And then this week now we have also taken out this low, the low of this week. So you never know if we might take the high of this week, which is also on our supply. So that is what even makes this supply zone even more valid. So you can consider trading off that as well. Okay. Yeah. So still valid for Euro USD, still the same thing, but as well, just as I've said, currently you have to be very careful when trading any pair with the USD. You never know how it strengthens or weakens after or during Trump's inauguration. Yeah. Hmm. What next is GPB JPY. One of the pairs I usually tell you that I don't relate too much with. Honestly, I'm actually even considering removing it from my watch list because I'm not actually trading it. I just use it to as for correlation with Euro JPY and USD JPY most such times. I don't relate so well with this pair, honestly, and this is a pair that has given me more losses in this market than any other pair, not even gold. Yeah. So last week we had orders from the same demand zone, and you can see there was some sort of positive reaction, but it has been violated, and we never know if how price pushes whether higher or lower. But let's just look at from the weekly time frame, try and see the weekly bias for next week. The only thing you are right on for GPP JPY is that last week we're looking for some bearish momentum. That's the only thing maybe we would have been right on. But yeah, looking at the kind of momentum you're having on the weekly time frame, we might still have some more bearish momentum on this particular pair during this week because we have not taken out any low. So first we have to be careful because that is a clear sell side liquidity, and in the event that that one is breached out, then maybe you can consider taking. You also have to be so careful while trading this GPB JPY. It's not very good. It has not been very good with market structure on my end, but yeah, you can just consider it trading from that. Yeah. So next week I'm still looking at a bearish GPB JPY. Yeah. On GPB USD, these are pairs I relate with. That's why it's so easy to go and we'll check them out. And yeah, for GPB USD, still next week I'm looking at some bearish GPB USD. We might have had our internal change of character right here. So after the internal change of character, we might have some bullish momentum, some sort of bullish momentum to pick more or sell momentum or sell orders to push prices lower and maybe take out this low or even this low. So these two lows are still valid to be taken out. These one as well as this one. So the two lows maybe market might be targeting during the next week most internally. And me for me honestly, I'm okay. We'll talk about the fundamentals tomorrow. For now, let's just focus on that. Yeah. So yeah, so on the this one was marked on the daily time frame right there, and we had that fair value gap. So I'm seeing we were expecting to see price trade to that fair value gap to take more sell orders from that fair value gap before it continues pushing lower and lower. Okay, yeah. So you also this one also has to remain just exactly the way it was. Nothing much changes. Okay, yeah, fantastic. So for USD JPY, on the weekly time frame, first of all, on the weekly time frame, we were looking at more bullish momentum, but then this week we had some bearish momentum. But I think we had said that last week we might price has been pushing price pushed lower the last week for USD JPY because of the CPI results that came out that pushed that weakened the dollar, that slightly weakened the dollar to keep pushing lower. So on the daily time frame, I'm still having my 4 hours on Wednesday, I think, and closed on reds. I've not yet done a recap of the trade, but it was not a very very good setup, but pretty much it was worth risking. Yeah, I lost and learned. But yeah, so I'm still waiting to see prices drop to this particular order block right here. Then maybe we can push higher. Depending on what happens on Monday, this setup is still valid. Number one, we still have this fair value gap or imbalance here to be filled. So I'm so positive that price might. You all know that we have. If you don't want to go against the trend, you will not take any more sales at this point. You want to chill and wait and watch to see if you can spot any particular buys in the market. So yeah, that is what I'm expecting on USD JPY. USD there was nothing. We think for this particular pair, we had not spotted anything that we could have traded off from. Most of us did not see any good setup, leave alone these things. My back testing this pair, trying to see if I can get any system that works with it. So you can see here in this case, we have taken out the previous week high. So you never know if next week we might take out the previous. We have taken out the previous week's high and closed below it. So most probably next week, you never know, we might drop down to take out the previous week's low as well. So most intentionally, that is why now I am having a bearish bias on USD for next week alone, not long and see. Let's just wait and see how price reacts of this OB that is here, not OB, sorry, of that fair value gap that is there, or that imbalance. And then now we'll see if price is going to push lower or not. For now, still stay bullish. Okay, the long term is bullish, but in the event that we have a positive reaction of we have the next 4 hour candle closing outside of that fair value gap, then it means maybe you can be thinking of taking shots from there to target this previous week's low here. Okay, yeah. So in the event that price the next 4 hour candle closes outside, drops and closes outside, then maybe you can consider taking shots from there to this low. Okay, on USD CHF. On NZD USD, that is what we were expecting. So on NZD USD, we had two ideas. The first idea was here. This was the first idea. We were looking for price to react off this supply here. And also, we also had this idea. So most people were saying this could have been an inducement. I think there was someone who was here during my last week's meeting. Sorry, my last week's live, and they said that that was an inducement, and true to that, that was possibly an inducement, and price pulled to this particular order block, and you can see From that time, we've been pushing lower. So for this case, you see, we have had about, that is about 50 pips still running. So you never know how um, price reacts next week. Just as I've said, from Trump's inauguration, so you can't chill, wait and see what happens. For now, that is what you can be expecting. And now for this particular trade, I'm on break even, chilling to break even and waiting to see. In the event that maybe we have a reversal, then well and good, I'll exit at break even. If not, we will take our TP. Yeah, yeah, those are we've done half the pairs. So I think the rest of the half we can conclude tomorrow, or maybe let me finish up with let me look at the DXY lastly, just the DXY, and try and see the strength of the dollar lastly, because I think that we are done with most of the USD pairs apart from gold. And you can see price has been pushing higher from last year September. About for the dollar has been strengthening for a while. So next week I'm also looking at a possible strengthening dollar, and on the daily time frame means we can't spot any imbalance, right? The daily time frame, so we can still chill and relax, wait, keep watching the market, try and see if there is any reason for price to push lower, which I don't really think we have any reason for price to push lower. I think last week what we were expecting is to see this reaction, or that we already had this one. I think that is what we talked about. There was this the demand there that we expect. Pairs like USD higher might be bullish next week, and pairs like USD and GU might be bearish next week. So yeah, but then you also have to try to more look more into your technicals before you take that um, as your trade idea. You can't just trade. You can't just wake up and sell. Yeah, brief on EU done. No, EU will do tomorrow. The market dynamics tomorrow is Sunday. We'll also have a session just like this one. Yeah, as well as now tomorrow we'll talk about the remaining pairs that are on my watch list, and then we'll also look at the fundamental bit of what you're expecting on Monday after the inauguration of Trump. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. So anyone with any questions, maybe, or additions or submissions, or, yeah. Anyone? Okay, so there being no questions, I think now we leave at that. If you've not given me maybe a thumbs up for this particular video, you can consider giving this video a like, as well as subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you have a notification anytime I go live. Okay, yeah, I usually go live on Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Yeah, so Tuesday and Thursday we are just trying to see what possibly has happened in the market and try to spot more opportunities in the market. And Saturday and Sunday we are looking at projections for next week, and also doing a recap of what we had last week, and the kind of reactions we had for prices, like how did price react of the markups we had last week. So yeah, make sure you always tune in any day, anytime, at on those days. Yeah, I'll be sharing the link, of course, to our Telegram channel. If you're there, if you're not there, you can consider joining it. Okay, yeah, thank you for those who have been here from the start. If you came late, you can also just watch the video. It will just be uploaded right here. You'll just go through it at your free time. Yeah, thank you for those who have been here. In case you have any question, you can always ask me, of course, on my inbox. My WhatsApp number is, you know where. Thank you. See you.